Yellow Days is a UK singer-songwriter who's gained a bit of buzz through the likes of SoundCloud, and a few publications have kind of pushed him a little bit, but honestly he doesn't seem to have made a big breakthrough as of yet. But I discovered him through a post on Twitter by Lamberg. I hope you're watching this video, Lamberg, because you are the reason why I know this album. And I'll be honest, I think this is actually really good. Like, I can't believe how good this album is. This is a very somber, sort of minimalist, but at the same time has some really nice thick production involved too. And I'm really impressed with this guy as a singer and a vocalist, and as a kind of like commanding voice on a set of tracks. Like, I feel like a live show would do this guy a lot of justice. And straight away, if you listen to this guy, you're instantly gonna think King Cruel. Like, that was what I did straight away. King Cruel is the biggest influence for this guy, clearly. I mean, the vocals are so similar. You could argue that, you know, one is better than the other, but honestly I think that Yellow Days is kind of doing what King Cruel was doing on his debut, but King Cruel has now shifted away from that, so you can't really say they're that similar in tone and style. Of course, you know, from King Cruel's latest album, The Ooze, it was very spacious, it was very patience testing, and if you saw my review, I absolutely love the album. But this album is a bit more of the upbeat type stuff, but it's still very kind of sluggish and a rainy day type thing, but it's done really well. There are some really well made hooks on this album, probably a lot better than The Ooze from King Cruel, if you will. Like, Nothing's Gonna Keep Me Down, nothing's gonna keep me down. And obviously my impression is terrible because his voice is so much deeper than mine, and I wish I had that kind of voice. I just don't. It's just not very appealing, is it? Also at points I'm reminded of Benjamin Clementine too, another singer-songwriter from the UK. It's got that kind of old man type voice, like the maturity of like a really like aging singer-songwriter, just like Benjamin Clementine has. And also Yellow Days also has that vibe too. But in all honesty, the lyrics across the album are pretty much basic surface level, but the guy is still so young, so to critique him on that you know, front alone is a little harsh. I mean, on That Easy, he's talking about how he wants to run away, and he wishes it was just that easy to just kind of give up, but it never is. You know, it's kind of that kind of stuff, nothing too thought-provoking. It's more just personally to do with him, I guess. Like, it's one of those projects where like the lyrics will mean much more to the person writing them than anyone else, because they're not really going to click with you. But it is honestly so impressive how good the instrumentation is. I mean, we have pianos, guitars all coming in. But it's done in a very traditional way. I do like the use of like traditional instruments. It's kind of rare to find on like a young person's album these days, which sounds ridiculous, but you know, the amount of like crap emo trap albums I've heard over the past few months from like 20-year-olds that just all sound the same, to hear something like this honestly is weirdly refreshing. Because this guy does often include some very smooth jazzy instrumentals, like on the track Holding On, and then we have his crooning, soulful voice just kind of whispering away over the track. It's really nice. I do kind of appreciate this sound a lot. And Weight of the World is another example of that. It sounds straight from like the 60s, 70s, like your Nina Simone type stuff. It's very nice to hear him do this, because he's obviously so good at it, yet at such an early level. I'm just so impressed with that. It's a shame that the outro, Lost in a World with You, doesn't really tie things up in a very grand way. It's not the best of closers, and honestly the sound across the album could have done with a bit of diversity. He does have a track with Reggie Snow on, which is a pretty decent feature, I suppose. So he does slightly try to change things up, but it's just not enough for me to kind of notice in a big kind of way. But I can't really say much else bad about this album, to be honest. It's actually really good. I'm gonna grade it a B, and I'm kind of interested at this point to see what's gonna appear on my year-end list, because typically I have B plus and above, but there haven't been like 50 albums yet that are worthy of fitting on the year-end list. So this is the kind of album that could sneak on at the bottom of the list. Who knows? Who knows? Do check this out though. Is Everything Okay in Your World? By Yellow Days is a very good release. Fans of King Cruel, again, go check this out. And let me know what you think of it if you have listened to it. And make sure you subscribe to the channel for more reviews, for more obscure reviews as well, like this. And have a good day.